I got to watch 9/11. It was a whole different world. I got into work that day, and suddenly I heard this engine, this plane, louder than I've ever heard anything. The building shook. I was watching the North Tower in flames. About 25 minutes later, I saw this explosion from the South Tower, and it was like, you know in the Game of Thrones, how the dragons breathe fire. Fire came out of the South Tower where the plane struck. And it was just like nothing I'd ever witnessed. Sadly enough, I saw a couple jumpers, which kind of got to me. It was like you'd see people covered in the dust. They looked like kabuki actors, all in white, all caught up in dust. What was striking was, before that, you heard planes and helicopters and sirens. There was complete silence. There was silence like I've never heard in New York City. Donna was working uptown and they blocked off Canal Street. I was worried I couldn't reach her by phone. Suddenly I was home, the door opened and Donna came in and I said, "How'd you get by? They weren't letting anybody down." And she said, "I ducked under the barricades and I ran." And I said, "Holy shit. Well, you're here." And I looked at her and she had a camo bandana on around her neck. And I said, "What the fuck are you wearing camo for? You're a New Yorker, you wear black, you're an art director." And she said, "We're at war." She got it. Of all the life events, marriage is the one thing you do with somebody else. You're born alone, you die alone. When you get married, you do it with somebody else. And I sent her this telegram. "I love you, Donna, will you marry me?" 3 months later, she wrote back and said, "Okay, love you." She was so funny. When she was in hospice, they got me all cranked up. You should talk to Donna about her plans for her funeral, any regrets in life, blah, 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 blah. I got my guts up and I went to say this to her. And I started to talk and she looked at me, and this was within 2 weeks of her passing away. And she looked at me and she said, "Don't be a modeling pussy." And she rolled over and went to sleep. It was like, no. So I was home, it was a Sunday, and I got a phone call from the hospice nurse saying Donna is agonal, which is a type of breathing before you die. I hopped in a cab, gave the cab driver directions. He made a bad turn. I jumped out and I ran to the hospital, and I got there and she had passed away. They said 5 minutes, I don't know how long before. And there she was. She was passed away. She was dead. So I wasn't there. Not the funny story. The thing was early on. One of the physicians said, "No one's really there when somebody dies. It's not, you can try to be." I wasn't there, and in a way, knowing Donna, maybe she knew. And she didn't want me to see her die, so she said, "That's it." I think she had enough. Part of what's important about your grief is what you're doing now. When people ask you about somebody who passed away, that's really important. You get to share those memories. You die 3 times. When your heart stops, when you're buried or cremated, and when the last person says your name. I don't want to be the last person to say Donna's name. There was a dog on the farm, and one Sunday there was neighbors over for a Sunday dinner, as they do on farms. And the girl got too close and playing with the dog. The dog bit the girl on the face, took the cheek off, and it was horrible to watch. And the farmer had me hold the dog. He went in and got a rifle and he killed the dog. That's what you do. I haven't shared that a lot, but that was growing up. Again, it's an unremarkable life. It's just an average story of an average individual. I became a crisis counselor. It was nothing I expected. You're dealing with people who are trying to kill themselves. a lot of those conversations take a lot out of you. There are sometimes you connect and it's just, you know, they left a little bit better when they came in, though with the world around them, there's all this shit going on. And for that moment, the shit went away. Connection is the heart of humanity. That's my humanity. For her 10th wedding anniversary, Donna got this ring, and it says this, which is love conquers all. The rest of the quote is, let us surrender to love. It's not the answers in life, it's the questions. When you ask questions, bless you, you learn. It's not the answers, it's the questions, because the questions you ask make other people think.